Welcome to FAFSA 101, where I break down the ins and outs about FAFSA, including why the heck you're doing the application in the first place. If you have any questions or concerns, please drop them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as soon as humanly possible. But enough of that, let's jump into the content, shall we? So first of all, what is the FAFSA? Okay, so the FAFSA, or Free Application for Federal Student Aid, emphasis on that word free, okay? Because if you go onto an application site and they asking you for credit card information, you in the wrong place, honey. Okay, so let's emphasize that free application, right? And it's an application that determines your eligibility for need-based aid, namely the Pell and FAFSA grant, right? Both of these are determined by income and other factors, right? They check your income. There's a formula that they use, and they will determine how much money you can receive. We'll talk more about that later, right? The FAFSA is also the gateway to all other forms of aid. Like literally, if you do not complete this FAFSA, right, there are no loans, there are no state funding, there is no institutional scholarships, meaning money that comes from the colleges, those nice little merit-based scholarships that you guys love so much. You won't be able to get one of those if one of these are not on file. Okay, note about the FAFSA needs to be completed every single year you are in school, right? Because part of the eligibility is determined by income, right? Your income can change. You can lose income, you can make more the next year. They need to make sure they have an accurate number, and so that's the reason why you have to do this application every single year you're in school. What happens if you don't apply for FAFSA? Number one, you're crazy, especially if you was trying to pay for school. You said it was expensive, you ain't had no money, and you didn't apply for this. You're already crazy. I'll let you know that now, right? But more than that, you're going to limit your access to money that can help you pay for college, right? So all those other things that we talked about that FAFSA is the gateway for, you won't be able to get because you didn't apply. So here's the T, right? Digging deeper into that, last year only about 46% of high school seniors completed their FAFSA for the 2024-2025 school year, right? That means there was billions of dollars left on the table, right? A lot of people were not able to get it. Now, I am going to say, right, last year's form was a piece of crap. So I understand why there was a significant drop. However, now that the application is supposed to be new and improved, we expect those numbers to be higher. I really want you guys to get to whatever dream you want. And if FAFSA is the way that you're going to be able to pay for your college education or pay for part of it, right? We want to make sure that you're doing the application so you're not part of that 46%, and you're not part of the people that are leaving billions on the table. So federal funding sources you can get just because you apply for FAFSA, right? Now, granted, it is based on your income and need, right? So those first two grants that we talked about in the beginning, that Pell Grant and that FAFSA grant, right? Those are based on need, right? If you got a higher income, you're going to get less of this money. If you have a lower income, you're going to get more of this money, right? So the Pell Grant can go up to $7,395, right? And that is based on need, right? If, like, let's say my family makes a lot of money, I might not be able to receive the Pell Grant, but I'll be able to receive student loans, right? The FAFSA grant is another need-based grant that is awarded to the student by the school, right? And so this money is released to the school from the federal government, and then the school will determine how much each student who has a demonstrated need will get. And that award can be from $100 to $4,000, right? Then we have the loans, right? The ones that people don't like to talk about. Ooh, right? So the direct loan is for students only, right? And so that's $5,500 that you can borrow. This is something that has to be repaid with interest, right? So there is going to be strings attached to this money. We understand that, but you cannot borrow more than $5,500 unless there's extenuating circumstances and you speak with financial aid. They might allow you to borrow a little bit more as a student. If, like, let's say I get my award letter, right, and there is like a bunch of nothing and I need money to go to school, they will offer your parents a Parent Plus loan, right? And parents can borrow up to the full cost of tuition, but just because they can doesn't mean that they should, right? No parent should be paying 85 or borrowing $85,000 to send you to school, right? Or $95,000 to send you to school. But if you need maybe like 5 or 10,000 extra dollars to make sure that you're able to pay your bill, that is warranted and okay, right? So for the Parent Plus loan, you also have to be credit worthy. So if your parents have bad credit, they may not be able to get this loan anyway. Okay. We also have work study. Work study is a federal work program for students. It used to be on the FAFSA form, but it is no longer on the FAFSA form. So the way that you can take advantage of work study is by saying yes when the schools ask you. Many of the schools will ask you in the school portal when you're accepted whether or not you want to do work study. In order to take advantage of this program, you must have a job, right? Or an assignment that you get through the school. You must have this before you can participate in this program. But if you are lucky enough to get work study, your award can be from $1,000 to $4,000. You will go to work like a regular everyday person, right? And then after you work for that money, you will be given a check that you can use for your education related expenses. So how do they determine how much aid you receive? Well, they're going to use the SAI or Student Aid Index formula, right? And so this formula is going to give you a rundown about how much they can give you, right? So at the end of your FAFSA, you're going to see an estimate for how much Pell Grant you can receive and how much loan you can receive. And this is based on this formula, right? So for a student, right, it's going to be based on the parent income, parent assets, and student assets. If the student is independent, meaning they do not need to provide parental details for the FAFSA form, they're only going to have to show their income and assets. If they have it, they're going to make a little formula of it, do the little math, crunch the numbers, and then you're going to get an estimate of how much Pell and or loan you can receive. So in order to apply, you're going to need a few things. One is going to be your FSA ID, right? And both the student and the parent should have one. If parents are married, both of y'all need an FSA ID, right? If your parent is like single, divorced, widowed, only one of those parents obviously will need that FSA ID. You're going to need your taxes from 2023. If things have changed, it is going to be up to you to speak to the colleges on the other end of this. So you're going to file it, and if anything has changed, maybe your income's a little bit different, you're going to talk to the financial aid offices at the schools so that they can give you an accurate financial aid award letter. Okay. The other thing, if there is any child support coming in, you want to make sure you have those statements with you because that is considered income and you're going to have to put that down on your FAFSA. Any current balances of savings or investments, you want to have those front and center as well. And then a list of up to 20 schools. Now, this is for the student, right? On the student side of the FAFSA, they're going to be able to list up to 20 schools. What if I have 30 schools, Miss P, right? So you're going to put the 20, you're going to process your application, and then you're going to come back and put the rest on, okay? So who can apply for FAFSA? Right now, only U.S. citizens and eligible non-citizens can apply, right? And so if you go on FAFSA's website, they will give you a better definition of what a non-citizen is, right? So that can be a permanent resident, that could be somebody with a specific visa, that can be a refugee, right? There are different class of folks that can apply for FAFSA. So you want to check the site to make sure that you are doing the right application. If you are undocumented, you need to check your state to see if there are any forms of aid that you can apply for through your state with your status. So what's new with FAFSA, what to expect, right? The form is role-based, so students are going to complete one half, and the parents are going to be invited to complete the other. So that's new, right? So when the student starts their application, there will be a place for them to put their parent details. It must match what the person put on their FSA ID, right? So if you're a parent, whatever you put on your FSA ID is the information you need to give your child so that they can make a match, a positive match, so that you can finish the application with them. Okay, FAFSA is going to also transfer data from the IRS automatically, right? And so they're going to pull the numbers out of the sky, out of the cloud, wherever it comes from, and they're going to put that information on the form, so there's less information for you to fill out, which is kind of dope. Okay. Students can add up to 20 schools. It used to be 10, right? So you can do 20 schools on your form this time around. There is going to be an expanded access to Pell Grants, right? Which is great, right? Before, a lot of people would get placed out. So they set the sights of the income a little bit higher so that more people can take advantage. So families making over $60,000 will be asked questions about their assets. Families making under $60,000 will be able to skip these questions about their assets. Folks making up to $60,000 can get to the max of the award for the Pell Grant, which is pretty cool. Okay. Undocumented parents also can now help their child with the FAFSA. Before they could not. Now they can create an FSA ID and be able to contribute to the form, right? What also is new is that all parties need to give consent to FAFSA to retrieve their income from the IRS, right? When you say no, you do not approve, you will be ineligible for Pell and FSEOG, even if you qualify, right? You need the money and they know you need the money, but you said no, you did not approve, you did not give consent, you will not be able to get anything but a loan. Okay. You also have 45 days. So now it's a little bit more stringent, right? Because they don't want to have a bunch of idle forms just sitting in their system. So after 45 days, if you didn't complete your form, it will be purged and you will have to start over. Okay. Just something to note. So best practices, you want to choose a start date to get your FAFSA in, okay? So my recommendation is no later than January 15th. If you can get it in sooner than that, please do, but do not let January 15th catch you, right? There's a certain first come, first serve basis for certain funds, right? Certain scholarships, and things like that, and you don't want to miss out because you did your FAFSA too late, right? If it's March or April that you're doing your application, you're already like skating on thin ice. So you want to make sure you get it done before January 15th. Okay. Students should start the application first and invite the parent to complete their section, right? It is the best way. It will create the positive match. So the student should be starting first. The parent should not be starting the application first. Okay. And you want to complete the application all at once, no stalling. Sometimes you start the application, you forget, and then, it's months later and you're like, oh crap, I didn't do my FAFSA. So you want to just get the application done all at once, so you can get it in and, get your money for college. Okay. If you run into any technical difficulties, this is the FAFSA hotline, right? You're going to call, you're going to tell them everything that you're seeing or not seeing on your screen, what's happening, and somebody should be there to support you. So make sure you do that. And also stay connected. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, let me know. If you have any questions, also let me know. And thanks for watching.
Get it, get it, get it, get it, get it, get on track.